Breda did not show a great deal of emotion during trial, Judge. A verdict is still to come after the lunch break, but so far the summary judgment statement in the Van Breda triple murder trial has been a damning one for the accused, whom Judge Siraj Desai said showed almost no emotion, even when demonstrating the fatal blows to his family members by an alleged intruder. Henri Van Breda, 23, has spent 66 days on trial for the murder of his parents and brother, the attempted murder of his sister Marley, and defeating the ends of justice. Van Breda, with heavy black circles around his eyes, could not keep his eyes open in the High Court in Cape Town on Monday as Desai moved carefully from one point to the next. Desai said that Van Breda had become emotional from time to time during the trial, which was to be expected, but that in general he did not show a great deal of emotion when he demonstrated the fatal blows to his family members by an alleged axe-wielding attacker. The judge said Van Breda was the only person alive who could remember what had happened, but had sarcastically responded that he had no idea who the attackers were. He then also touched on the issue of a possible second axe used on the crime scene, but, after going through the testimonies of a domestic worker and two young friends of the family, said the court had come to the conclusion that the chances were virtually nil that a second axe had been used at the crime scene, and that the lack of Marley's blood on the axe did not mean she had not been attacked with that axe. He emphasized that forensic pathologist Dr. Daphne Anthony had described the types of injuries on Marley's head as being highly similar to those sustained by the other family members, and that it is highly unlikely the alleged attacker would have brought along an axe similar to the one in the family home. Desai also refuted the defense's claim that the lack of Marley's blood on Van Breda's shorts or socks proved that she may have been attacked by a second attacker using a different object. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence, said Desai, adding that one could strike someone with an axe without a single drop of blood resulting. Marley had 5 very deep lacerations on her skull and on other parts of her body, and according to blood expert for the state Marius Joubert, the fact that the injuries were not close together could explain why there was no blood on the shorts or socks. Desai concluded on this point, the court is satisfied that Exhibit 1 is the only axe used during the commission of these crimes and that it belonged to the Van Breda household. He added that if the intention of an alleged intruder was to kill the family, he would more likely have brought his own weapon, whereas using an axe already in the house would amount to strange behavior by a random assailant. He also said no evidence exists to indicate any motive for killing decent family members, whether they were killed by an unknown intruder or not. Desai then also considered the evidence of neighbor Stephanie Optihoff, who was adamant that the aggressive male voices she heard on the night of the attackers were not that of the soundtrack of a Star Trek movie as claimed by the defense, and Desai said he considered Optihoff to be a highly reliable witness. He then moved on to the issue of whether Van Breda's wounds were self-inflicted or not. He recalled the evidence of Dr. Mary Ann Timon-Smith and Dr. Johan Demper, who had both described the parallel superficial and uniform wounds on Van Breda's body as being textbook examples of self-inflicted wounds. He said that Dr. Timon-Smith had conceded that it was sometimes difficult to ascertain if wounds were self-inflicted, but that in this case she had no doubt whatsoever. Before announcing the lunch break, Desai said if the court accepts that some of the injuries were self-inflicted, the accused's credibility will be seriously affected. The case continues after lunch, when the verdict is likely to be announced.
Wow.